should start now.
So, I welcome you all in this conference. So please, I request all the participants, please mute yourself. Uh, so, I welcome you all. A very good morning to everybody. So today we are uh, going to organize a national conference. It's a career-oriented conference. Before going to the main theme of the conference, I wish to tell you a little bit about the Adamas University. Uh, Let me share the screen actually. So I hope it is visible to you. So we are the Department of Chemistry under the aegis of School of Basic and Applied Sciences, and it is the very new university. We are only 5 years old. That is Adamas University. So before going to the our department, so what is chemistry? Because most of the participants today are the students, uh, both mainly graduate or school students. So if you think of chemistry, then what I can tell you that chemistry is nothing but making and breaking bond, right? So I am giving you the simple example that chlorine, we know it's a very poisonous gas, which has been employed in World War One, and sodium also, which is a very corrosive metal, which burns upon contact with water and air. So, but if you mix them, if you make a bond between them, it becomes a sodium chloride, which is a table salt, and which is a most essential part of our daily food. So chemistry itself a fun. So the Department of Chemistry constitute, we offer these many courses under Department of Chemistry, and also we offer the environmental science also. There is BSc and MSc environmental science under the Department of Chemistry. They are the separate faculties. Uh, Now I'm giving, so these are the main divisions of the chemistry, that organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, physical chemistry, analytic chemistry. Also, we have uh, given stress on the material chemistry, environmental chemistry, forensic chemistry, biochemistry, as well as industrial chemistry, which is one of the theme of today's conference. So these are our faculty members. Uh, uh, Most of all of them are present here today. So you can see their research interest, and they have a vast interest in different fields, and all of them have the experience of PhD as well as postdoc from different institute. Also, they have the experience of teaching in different reputed institute also. So our question is that you can see the different stalwart persons here. So I want to ask you a simple common question, that what is the common in between them? That they all have the chemistry degree. So with your chemistry degree, what you can do everything. You can be the astronaut, you can be the actor, you can be the chancellor, you can be also the pope, right? So everything you can do with the chemistry degree. So it's not that you have to be in the academic portion only, but there are several labs, laboratories, industries, different pollution control board, climate change control board, and alternative energy resources. Everywhere you can ponder over and you can success. So chemistry will give you the success. So these are the things that if you read in Adamas University, what are the USP means, uh, because many university in the India, they offer the BSc and MSc chemistry or BSc and MSc environmental science in different university. But in Adamas University, these are the things that you will find which is comparatively newer and comparatively special about the Adams University Department of Chemistry. Uh, and along with if you along with you can opt for the other degrees also, but if you study chemistry, so along with you are writing yourself that I am graduate in chemistry or postgraduate in chemistry or PhD in chemistry. So these are the special skills that you will also achieve further, which you can put it in your CV. You can think of it as a soft skill or hard skill, what it may be, but really these skills matters in your latter life, in your real life situation, in your career, building the career. So these are the different career prospects of chemistry in research development, in quality control, also in support service, manufacturing service, sales and manufacturing, everywhere is there. And after BSc, you can opt for the higher education also. So these are the different type of master degree courses that a chemist student can opt for. Uh, So these are the different things that what if you choose the environmental science, both in your graduate and postgraduate, how you can connect with the other sector of sciences like life science, physical science, mathematics, biology, geography, everywhere you've been connected because environmental science is nothing but it is an interdisciplinary science. So from anywhere you can go to environmental science, and if you study environmental science, you must have to gather the knowledge from the different sectors only. Then only you can do work in real field actually, because environment is your laboratory. The whole world is your laboratory. You don't have to find the school laboratory or college laboratory, because environment is your laboratory, and it is the best possible laboratory, best possible instrument in the thing that the world have. So these are the things that how the environmental science is a transdisciplinary nature in economics, management, product designing, chemical engineering, civil engineering, life sciences, even in architecture, everywhere you have to take care of the environment. Otherwise, you will not get any type of uh, uh, lawful uh, your agreement that you can establish your business. So these are the career prospects of environmental science, both in the R&D sector as well as in the different government regulatory bodies also there, because we know that each of our department, each of our production department, they have to keep one environmentalist, because otherwise there are several environmental laws that they have to abide by. So this environmentalist will help them will how to make abide by those environmental laws. So these are the three main sectors: the environmental protection, resource management, and environmental sustainability. So uh, Adamas University offer you the course in such a way that you can conglomerate all three sectors and you can switch over to any of the sector as per your choice. So these are the ongoing research projects that our department boasts of. Uh, so we have 4 DST projects. Also, there are several projects from industry also in our department. We have this many laboratories. So one thing is that because laboratory is an essential part of the chemistry and environment. So chemistry is a cooking, but only difference between from your kitchen is that you can't lick the spoon actually. So these are glimpse of our laboratory, and these are some papers that has been published by our faculty members in different reputed journals. So during the lockdown, Adamas University as well as the Department of Chemistry has taken several initiatives that the process of learning should not stop. So in Adamas University, it has also got some Q Learning award also for its endeavor to continue this process of learning. So we have opted several of these opportunities that how to keep this process of learning continue in future. Uh, so these are the achievements of a student, because we personally take care that the students should get JAM or NET or other competitive examination. So these are the achievement of a student. Most of our students, they actually got different type of position in several institute of India, and I hope you will find the bright future, because uh, we are we can claim that we have many USPs, we are making this, but the consequence of this thing, that our students, that what our students achieve. So you can see that what are their achievements. So throughout different central universities, IITs, NITs, our students are there. Within 5 years, we have just prepared them. So we boast of their better future. So, so these are the things that you should look for if you wish to join in any university for any course. And these are the things that why you should choose the Adamas University.
Oh my God.
Along with the normal our classes, because we are the uh, mother RICE is our mother institute. So along with the normal classes, we also offer that the students should be prepared for the different government type of job, and banking job, railway job, like this. So that type of coaching is also there, which is embedded in the normal timetable. Right? So this is the added advantage that you can achieve if you are in you opt for the Adamas University and Department of Chemistry also. So after this, with this little introduction to our department, so I thank you all. So and I am among those who think that the science is a great beauty. A scientist in his laboratory is not only a technician, he is also a child placed before the natural phenomena which impresses him or her like a fairy tale. And if you are a chemist, or so remember that you are not a student of a general science. I can tell you, you are a molecular engineer, because you are engineering the new molecules, you are synthesizing the new molecules, and which is essential to carry out our daily lives. Thank you very much. So with this little introduction to our department, I am requesting our Honorable Dean Sir, Professor J.K. Pandey Sir. He is also the Pro Vice Chancellor of Research and Development Affairs of the Adamas University, to inaugurate today's conference. Sir, please.
Thank you, Arpan. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, host sir.
Good morning.
And good morning, all our speakers. Thank you so much for your time. Uh, we are organizing such type of mini conferences or one-day conferences mainly to provide credible information to parents and students. Because nowadays there are a lot of informations available on Google and various platforms. There are consultants, websites. So most of the time, parents and students, they are confused. They are confused with so many informations with them, and they are confused the way they want to go, the way they want to pursue their dreams. So such type of mini discussions are helping them and giving them a credible information about their career in various disciplines. So we are blessed by having host sir with us, senior professor in chemistry, and he has been mentoring this department and this school, this university since the inception. And we have very energetic faculty members like Arpan Manna, Kishla, Devpratim, and Rupam. I mean, I want to name everyone, the whole environmental science faculty members. So uh, let us start, Arpan, and I'm sure it is going to be very interactive. Take as many questions as possible, reply them, because this is how we are helping our students and parents to choose their career, to give them some authentic, real information that this is what they can do in future if they are going to study chemistry. In general, you have already mentioned in your presentation, there is nothing without chemistry. I am PhD from National Chemical Laboratory. I am MSc in Organic Chemistry. So I am naturally biased for chemistry. But one thing is for sure, if you are having a degree in chemistry, you will always get a job. And if you are having a degree in chemistry with some extra skill, with some extra specialization, people will call you to come and join their places. If you are having a chemistry degree with you at higher level, say at PhD or master, you have whole world everywhere on every corner of this planet. You have universities where chemistry departments are there. In every private universities in India, chemistry department is there. In every college, this chemistry department is there. So there is no limitation. It will totally depend on the passion and dedication of the person who is pursuing the PhD. And this is very interesting. And I'm sure today, when we'll go further with the discussion, we will find out that how interesting it is, because all our speakers are very young, very dynamic. I have gone through their pages, and Arpan has shared it. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And I'm sure it is going to be a very interactive session. Thank you, Arpan.
Thank you, Seth, for your nice words. You had already tuned the chord of this whole conference. So this conference will mainly be the discussion time. Means it's not like that the normal conference that people tell you regarding some topic and discuss about the topic. But here, the participant will directly talk with the speakers if they have some queries regarding their future, their career, and what they can do, how to transform their career from academy to the industry like this. So thank you very much, Seth, again. So with this, we would like to invite Professor Sanjeev Ghosh, sir, for telling something. Professor Sanjeev Ghosh, sir is the ex-principal of Presidency College. He is now the professor of eminence of the Department of Chemistry of Adamas University. And he is one of the gem of our department as well as the university, because he his guidance is the one of the important thing that we have brought so many laurels to our department. Professor Ghosh, sir, please.
Thank you, Arpan. Good morning to everybody, and welcome to all the speakers and the participants. Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yes,
me?
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. And special thanks to our Dean, Professor Jitendra Pandey, who has already, initiated the theme of that you can go anywhere if you have chemistry. That's the word. And Arpan has mentioned many things about the, places or the workplaces or where you can go after having the degree chemistry. I just want to 2 or 3 sentences. I want to add that during this pandemic period, people have understood one thing, that our future life, future life of next generation depend on people in 2 areas. One is biology, that is microbiology, biochemistry, bioinformatics, and maybe biotechnology. And other area is obviously chemistry. You cannot survive without a drug. And who will prepare the drug? Who will synthesize the drug? Who will purify the drug? So everywhere you need chemistry. As Arpan said, you need synthetic chemist, you need analytical chemist, you need physical chemist. Everywhere chemistry is this, as was a Pandey mentioned. So our future life, this COVID situation, we can overcome. See, why the 2 people, chemist and the biologists, they are working hand in hand everywhere. And also computation is very important. So these days, UGC syllabus has a lot of computational courses embedded in chemistry. So when a student will be graduated from chemistry with a chemistry degree in BSc or MSc, they will be really, have lots of opportunities, as Professor Pandey mentioned, to go anywhere, starting from paint industry to polythene polymer industry to space industry. You can go, and everywhere, climate control, environmental science, and anywhere, drug industry, chemical industry, everywhere. So enough scope is enough. And obviously, those who want to do research, you can go for research. There is lots of things there are lots of things where we do not know anything about this. So I want to mention that, simple as Orphan mentioned, that synthesis, bond breaking, chemistry is all about bond breaking and bond making. And in the first person, who did synthesis ammonia, breaking nitrogen bond, breaking hydrogen bond, and making the bond NH, Haber, he won the Nobel Prize. He was an industrialist, but he won the Nobel Prize as well. So don't think that if you go to the industry, you don't have the ability or don't have the scope for research. Everywhere, if you want, you can go for research in teaching service, industry, everywhere. So I think chemistry is a subject. If you understand this, then it will be really, very, very opportunity everywhere. And one more thing, as Arpan mentioned, that having chemistry mind, that scientific mind, you can go to anywhere. India now lacks lots of good governance. We can see every day in the TV that we are lacking good governance. And if you move from chemistry to IAS, I hope that governance will be back to some extent. Because in our days, when I was a student of Presidency College, my seniors, my juniors, many people from physics and chemistry went to IAS. In fact, in late 80s and 90s, about 20% of IAS in central government and the state government were from this part of the country. So that is another opportunity. And you see, if you have chemistry, don't think that you will not be able to cover history. I have seen many of my students that they got higher marks than history honor students having chemistry honors. So go for that also if you want. So there is a lot of scope. With this, I again want to thank Arpan Manna, all the faculty members, and Professor Pandey for this, for organizing this nice seminar. Hope this will be very beneficial to all students and participants. Thank you, Arpan.
Thank you very much, sir, for your nice words. It's inspiring to all of us who are having the chemistry fraternity. So, with this, I would like to invite Dr. Kisolai Bhattacharya to continue with the technical session. Dr. Kisolai Bhattacharya, he is a PhD from IACS and he is specializing in inorganic chemistry, and he had the postdoc experience also, and also he is the faculty member of Adamas University for last 4 years. Dr. Kisolai Bhattacharya, kindly take over the.
Thank you, Arpon. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Honorable Dean Sir and Honorable Professor Sanjeev Ghosh Sir. So it is a great pleasure for me to introduce Dr. Soumya Sarkar. Soumya Sarkar is not actually an eminent person in the industry. He is also a good friend of mine. It is my pleasure to introduce him. Soumya Sarkar has completed his BSc from Calcutta University and his MSc from IIT Bombay. He has completed his PhD from University of Florida, USA, where his work was focused on designing and developing transition metal catalyst for reactive MX bond and studying such MX bonds for catalysis and fundamental atom transfer reactions. Then he pursued his postdoctoral research from Cornell University, USA, where his research interest was focused on developing new catalyst for anionic polymerization of acrylonitrile and developing highly isotactic polymers. After that, he joined Momentive Performance Materials in India, where he continued his work from 2013 to 2019 as research scientist. And after that, he has joined in Evonik Asia Research Hub from 2019, where he is continuing his work as research scientist, as well as he is also a team leader there. So with this, I would like to invite Dr. Soumya Sarkar to deliver his valuable lecture. Soumya.
Hi, Kishala, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can. Let me know if you can see the presentation.
The present is, yes.
Yes, it is visible.
Yes, it is visible now.
Okay. Well, I would like to start by thanking Adamas University for this excellent platform. Not for us to present, it's for the future generations to learn and to be excited to the journey. So I would like to congratulate everyone at the beginning for choosing chemistry as a vehicle to take on the journey of their career. And today we are going to learn a little bit about how to drive that vehicle and how exciting the journey can be. So in addition to that, I congratulate the Adams University and the Department of Chemistry and the senior members of the university for connecting all of us together. Not only I see the young minds attending the conference, I also see some of my old friends who started this journey along with me in this conference. So it's really a pleasure for me to speak on behalf of all of us. So I didn't know what to essentially talk about. So I essentially then did what everybody does. So I went into Wikipedia and I searched what career is. And this is what it says. It says it's a journey. So yes, career is a journey, and it will be a journey through your learning, through your work, and other aspects of life. And one important aspect to remember is that everyone will have different journeys. So there are a number of ways that you can define your career. So it's not a one point aspect. So it is a journey, and you have to enjoy it throughout. So in my talk today, I will try to touch upon some of the following sections. So my journey as a chemist, what I have gone through, some of the essentials that you need to have while you are in this journey, some of the typical career tracks and the landscapes that is what I understand from my perspective, and some of the inspirations who have taken much beyond chemistry. So this is me, as Kishola suggested. 20 years ago, I started in Rohra Ramakrishna College. I joined there as a bachelor student. After that, I moved to IIT Bombay to do my master's. Followed by that, I went to do my PhD in University of Florida. I picked catalysis as one of my core strength, and I studied in that. And in the later half, I started using those catalysts for fundamental reactions, polymerizations. I got excited with polymerizations. So I decided to do my postdoc in polymers. So I moved to Cornell University. That's where I learned a little bit about polymers. And then I came back to India. And in that, I have gone through a career progression in my there. And I started off in my very entry level as an advanced scientist. And I kept growing in my career with a bigger scope and bigger roles that came along. And followed by that, I moved on to Singapore. I joined a new company, Electronic, and here I am the team leader, and I am responsible for launching new products. And I am working on an exciting technology of 3D printing, but all with chemistry. Okay, so let's move on to C. So what comes to your mind when you see this picture? So this picture says it's a big elephant, but it's sad, simply because it's tied by a rope, a very small rope and a peg. So I'm sure that everyone now thinks that this elephant is surely not held back because of this peg and the rope. The elephant is held back because it stopped believing in yourself. And this is where it all starts. You have to believe in yourself that you have a bright career in future. You are in the right track. So believing that you can become the most successful person is the most important and one of the first steps towards actually achieving it. So don't think that you cannot do it. You can do it if you believe in yourself. But what happened is that the original story said is that this elephant was held like this when he was very young. And the trainer never managed to train the elephant different. So as it grew up, it believed in that trainer, the same training that it cannot break the rope. So in this journey, you also need a proper mentor or a proper trainer who can actually show you how to pull this peg out or how to break the rope. So that's why it's very important that in your journey, you should find a mentor. Who is a mentor? A mentor is first and foremost is a very good listener. There is a difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is something where I will speak and you just hear and the story ends. Listening is where you can get a commitment from your mentor, you will get feedback, you will get honesty, you will get trust, and this is very important. So in your journey, you have to find a mentor. I was one of the lucky ones who found a very good mentor who pulled my peg and who broke my rope. I was the elephant when I was in my bachelor's. I I have enormous respect for Professor Bholanath Mukherjee. He actually told, go and fill up the form for IIT Bombay, for IIT JAM. And that's when I learned that there is life beyond just getting a first class. That was only my target. So that's where my journey started. And in this, remember, a mentor will be your strongest critic. They will criticize you. They will try to polish you up. But they are the ones who will be the most proud with your successes too. So always listen to your mentor. Have a good feedback session. Who can be your mentor? Your seniors, your professors, your alumni people, and also go to conferences and try to connect people. So that's where you can find a good mentor. So as I said, your career is actually on you. If you don't take risk, there is no gain. You can be comfortable, you can swim like this goldfish in your own domain, but you will not feel the real gain that can come. So you have to take the risk and take the plunge. Listen to your mentor, believe in yourself, and then take the plunge. The moment you take the plunge, you can see other opportunities are going to open up exactly like this fish, which never knew that there can be even bigger areas to explore if we did not take the jump. So the moral is that remember there you will hear there are a lot of things I don't get opportunity. Well, that's not true. Opportunities will only come to those who can actually take it. Be prepared for it. So prepare yourself for catching to those opportunities and be ready to take the jump. Next, very important aspect is that if you want to develop your career, you have to build a professional network. Please don't think that somebody will come and give you a job because you have a degree. Those days are gone. A lot of people are having degrees. So you have to take the initiative. You have to reach out to people. You have to build professional networks. One of the platforms is LinkedIn. So understand how that platform works. Do not use that as a Facebook. Use LinkedIn as your professional network. Use that as your digital resume. Create your profile there and let people know who you are, how you are developing yourself throughout the period of time. You should also go into job boards, example like Naukri and other things, where you just type in chemistry and see what kind of qualities are required from the people to get a job. Do your research, be resourceful, be genuine. Don't connect to them just for getting a job. Make sure you maintain a healthy and a consistent relationship. And you have to be patient. Nothing will come in the next day. You have to be patient, you have to be consistent. And if you maintain your resourcefulness, you will see lots and lots of opportunities, and you can be that fish to take that jump to find bigger and bigger opportunities. Very importantly, those are the tools that you have to follow. But as a person, you also have to tune yourself to make yourself most suitable for the future. And these are the, you must have a solid foundation. Whatever you are learning today, learn from the heart. Don't just memorize things. Really learn from what you are supposed to learn. Make sure you understand the fundamentals. I have seen in most of the interviews, if you write down something in your resume and you cannot explain it, that's the most shameful thing that can happen to you in an interview. If you write down something in your resume, you should be able to explain it during your interview. So have a solid foundation, be honest, have the right attitude. Don't pretend that you are there to solve all the problems for them. Pretend that you are the person who is there to contribute to an organization, be it academia, be it industry. But if you are there with an attitude that you can shoot a rocket to the moon next day, make sure that you will never get a job. And in all interviews, I have seen that the right attitude in combination with solid foundation and honesty is the most important traits that we look for. You have to be optimistic as well. In addition to being all of this, you also need to have your aspirations. What is my aspiration? I can tell you, my aspiration was I need to be able to develop technology which can be converted into a product and people should be able to use a product. It can be as simple as that. Your aspiration can also be, if you are a teacher, that you need to be able to develop young minds, develop solid foundations for them as well. So that can be like that. So have some sense of aspiration. And you should also have a sense of purpose. What does that mean? So these are the fundamental things that you should be imbibed in yourself. If you feel that your sense of purpose is satisfied, you are on the right career track. You don't need to change, you don't need to get impatient, you don't need to get frustrated. My sense of purpose is very simple. My sense of purpose is learn, contribute, and grow. In any one of the jobs or career tracks that I have been, I have kept these things in mind. Am I learning? Am I contributing? Am I growing? If these things are clear, I'm sure I am in the right direction. Tell all of this to yourself and prepare yourself for the journey. All right. And last but not the least, this is a very different syndrome that a lot of people get confused. They will see a successful people and they will see only the top part. That's the success. But they don't realize that the person may also have gone through a lot of pain, training, failure, hard work, sacrifices, and etc. What I mean to say is that if you see a successful person, please get inspired by them. Don't be jealous or don't compete. Every one of you will have your own pathways, your own journey along the way. Enjoy your journey the way you want to and create your own success story. Okay? So these are the fundamental things that I wanted to share. Now I will get more into the reality of things. So what can you do with a chemistry degree? So these are the typical career pathways you can have, and these are the educational ladders that you can climb. You can get a bachelor's degree in chemistry. It can be an engineering degree or a general or a non-engineering degree. You can then proceed to become a master's, a doctorate, and a postdoc. And in each of them, you can get, after you complete your degree, then you can go to your professional career like this. You can be a school teacher or entry level into an industry. If you go to a master's, your qualifications increase, your experience increase. So your teaching ability will be higher. So you can now become a college teacher or even an entry level person in an industry. As you get to proceed towards the higher steps in your academic, your ability to get jobs also now becomes broader. And now you can become a college teacher or a researcher in national labs where you are not in charge of the teaching, but just creating a lot of fundamental research, nice research, contributing to a lot of interesting findings. You can also be a university professor who can be responsible for both teaching and research. You can also join the industry as an advanced level, as an individual contributor, or you can be in an advanced level if you have your doctorate in a very specific segment. And similarly, more education you get, more experience you will get, and you can be even joining the industry even managerial, or you can get better and higher positions in the university professor. Each one of these will have their own career tracks. So that's a generic structure that I can put forward. But what I want to make sure that everybody understands, no matter where you are, whether you are in your studies or you are actually in your teaching or your industry career, you must keep yourself upskilling. You must build competency in yourself so that you can be ready for the next career move. If you just do exactly what is in plate, that is not good enough. Always focus on upskilling. Take new courses, take new professional courses, new professional certifications. That is always going to help in the journey. And most importantly, the world is very volatile. So keep an agile and a very growth mindset. Things can change here and there, so you have to be. So with this, I would like to tell you what an industry landscape can look like, what kind of jobs you can look. Of course, when you have a degree in chemistry, you can join a chemical company, like the way I am. So I am a part of a chemical industry. My industry is more into a specialty chemical industry. There are lots of chemical industries. So what I said before, remember, be resourceful. So today, take a note. Go back and try to find what are the chemical industries there, and then start gathering your resources, make more educated knowledge and knowledge base, and take decisions based on that. Chemical industries, Dow, DuPont, Evonik, Momentive, Huntsman, Solvay, these are the world famous chemical industries. You can be a part, you can develop your career there. If you do not join a chemical industry, there are lots of other industries you can join as well. For example, you can join an oil and gas, renewable energy. For example, you can join companies like Shell, Bharat Petroleum with your chemistry degree. You can join FMCG industries like Unilever, Procter and Gamble, Nestle, Dabur, like that. You can join to create your career FMCG industry. You can move to healthcare and biotech. Example, Johnson and Johnson, Novartis, even Syngene, Biocom. Those are all healthcare and biotech companies. You can join electronics companies. For example, you can join LG, Samsung, and lots of other electronic companies in your studies. You can join agrochemicals and other ingredients. Companies like Monsanto, companies like Syngenta. There are very well-renowned agrochemical companies. You can join ingredient companies like flavor houses, like International Fragrance and Flavors, Simrise. You can join Jivodan. These are companies which extract out flavors and fragrances, and they do a lot of fundamental chemistry. Another very booming segment is paints and construction. I think you have heard about Asian Paints and Pidilite. A lot of chemists actually work there. You can join their team as well with your chemistry. And if you are thinking beyond these kinds of landscapes, you can join the HSQ and regulatory, as some of the professors mentioned here. You can join even aviation, maritime, and automotive industry. You can join Tata Motors. You can join Toyota. You can join Honda. You can join shipping industries where also a lot of chemistry happens. You can join aviation, like you can join Boeing or Airbus. They hire chemists as well. You can also join an interesting journey of consultancy. There are a lot of agencies who does consultancy. Examples being Boston Civilian. You can join Boston Consulting Group with your chemistry degree. They need people so that they can give expert opinions and solve problems. And there are other aspects like you can be a patent attorney with your chemistry degree as well. So there are lots and lots that you can do. And if you think that this is not enough, this is not more than something that you want to do, of course, you can get inspired. So examples are Professor C.N.R. Rao. If you type in Wikipedia top Indian scientist, he will be coming up. There are 80 industries, more than 80 universities who have decided to give him honorary doctorate. So essentially, he has 80 plus PhD degrees. He has taken his career beyond being just a professor. He has created research institutes. He has served as the scientific advisor for Prime Minister of India. So that's how famous he is. And he has taken his knowledge beyond just being a chemistry professor. If you want more examples, here is one. Angela Merkel, she is the German Chancellor. She had a doctorate in quantum chemistry. She joined the industry, and later half she decides to join the civil services. And now she is one of the most prolific members of the European politician board, and she is a fantastic person. There can be other examples like Jack Welch. Jack Welch was one of the prolific CEOs in the history of industry. So he started his career with his master's degree in chemical engineering, and he joined General Electric. And within a very short period of time and his sheer beliefs and focus, he was able to climb up the ladder. He was the CEO of GE, and he had a very strong belief: be number one or two, or don't be there at all. And with that belief, he turned around GE to be one of the most profitable companies in the history of industry. So what I wanted to say, and I want to end, is chemistry is multidisciplinary, and you can do a lot with chemistry, and it will never hold you back. With that, I conclude my talk, and I thank you for your attention. So the floor is open for questions.
Thank you, Dr. Soumya Sarkar, for your motivational talk. Now, I think this talk will help our students much to get motivation and to choose their career. Okay, now this is the time for question answer discussion. So I would like to ask the participant to ask your question either directly to Dr. Sarkar, or you may ask your question in the chat box.
तो पिछला है.
Yes, sir.
You can read it from the chat box.
Yeah. I am asking the question from the chat box.
No, already, okay. Already they are available in chat box in the everyone column.
Okay. So first question from Chiranjeev Kaur. Sir, what can I do after completing MSc degree in inorganic chemistry? Basically, I am going to industry.
Very good question. I am a person who started in the exact footsteps. So you really want to join industry, then as I mentioned, that you should be able to create your profile in LinkedIn. That's the first step, and start connecting with your network there. you should start looking for different kinds of jobs and which are available in different job boards. But don't approach anyone by saying that I need a job. So you need to be able to look and find a job, apply to the job, then ask for someone to give you referrals to the job and create a healthy rapport. And then I'm sure that you can find a lot of jobs in the industry with your master's degree in inorganic chemistry.
Okay, I think the answer is satisfactory for Chiranjeev Kaur. Now, next question is from Niloy Kumar Ghosh. Sir, I am a fourth semester student of West Bengal State University and my subject is chemistry honors. Actually, I am extensively interested in the biological chemistry, including organic and inorganic, both types of biological reactions. And I want to get my higher educations like MSc, PhD, and further research work from abroad universities or research institutes. So, what should be my next step to get chance there?
Okay. So as you know that you are about to complete one of your degrees in bachelor's, right? So you want to go to the master's. So there are lots of ways that you can take it forward. Of course, you can follow the traditional track, and you can also try to apply for scholarships and fellowships in universities. And you can decide to give the joint entrance tests that are available for masters. You can decide to pursue your master's degree in IIT the way I did. So there are options available. As I said, you can look around what is the right step. Once you get to the next step of masters, you will obviously see that there are people who are also in the same journey, in the same journey what you want to be. You can get opportunities in foreign universities by directly writing to professors, or you have to give exams like GRE and then go to foreign universities. That's the track that I did.
Okay. Okay. The next question is from Jayanti. How can I go for research abroad if I do not have any research experience?
Uh, it all depends on what step of your career you are in. So going to abroad, first of all, you have to ask why you want to go abroad, right? Just because the word abroad means that something good will happen, that's not the case. A lot of institutions in India, they are really doing cutting edge science. So that's one advice that I will have. And if you really want to go abroad, as I said, that you have to be able to write directly to professors. And then if you want jobs, you can apply directly to the career portals. And if your profile, your experience matches, they should be able to reach out to you and you can take the next steps.
Okay. She is again asking that how to deal with all the negativities that come through while pursuing academia. People usually say there is no certainty in this field.
Well, you have a choice to listen to those negativity, or you have a choice to participate in conferences like this, where I can tell you that all of my friends who started on the same journey, we are always keeping young people like you motivated. There are a lot of positivity as well. So it's your choice to choose which one to listen, negativity or positivity. That's number one. Number two, as I mentioned, you have to be patient. Negativity can be really temporary. Your journey is going to be like a sinusoidal curve. It's never going to be flat. It's going to go up and down. And people who are giving you the negativity, you can tell them that that's from their perspective. So my request to you is that you should develop your own perspective, and I'm sure that if you maintain the perspectivity, you can be able to proceed in your career.
Okay. Now, Nisa Ganguly. Question from Nisa Ganguly: how to maintain consistency in study?
I'm not sure what you actually asked on that. Consistency in study. The consistency in study is very simple. If you feel that you are getting a little derailed or little demotivated about the long academic career that you have to pursue, then I would suggest that you break down your goals into smaller milestones. Go each one by one. So, as I said, when I was doing my bachelor's, I never knew that I will go and join Cornell University during my It all happens step by step, incremental. So I would like to say that keep it small, keep it focused, it will happen.
Okay. Now, question from Mayur Patel. PhD without any entrance exam. That means probably he is asking whether it is possible or not. PhD without any entrance exam.
I think since my time, I have not given an entrance exam to get a PhD. GRE is actually more of, if you consider GRE is never considered an entrance exam. It's more of a research aptitude test in which you are not going to give an exam on chemistry as well. You are going to give an exam on English and mathematics. This is one of the phases that you exams that you give to get a PhD from outside. I know some of my friends who has not even given GRE, who has applied directly to professors and who has done their PhD without giving exams. So there are avenues you have to search for.
Okay, next
I think
from
Kisla,
yes, sir.
some of the questions are very common. So let us hear everyone and then we can go one by one. All the questions.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay,
what
okay.
do you say, Dr. Soumya?
Yeah, sure. I mean, what I can suggest is that Kishala is always reachable to me. If later half of
Yeah.
the time, if I can answer, that is also possible. In the
Okay.
interest of the time, we have to move forward.
Okay, okay, okay.
So after
Okay,
hearing
that's
every
good.
speakers, maybe the same people may
Yes.
have more questions. So once
Yes. Yes.
all the speeches are over, then we'll go for the Q&A session.
Okay, okay. Okay. Then I am asking some other kind of question. Here is a question from Sayantik Shamunto. Sir, what are the pathway to join pharmaceutical industry?
Excellent questions. So if you want to join pharmaceutical industry, then of course you must get a specialization or some expertise in organic chemistry, because that's the gateway from chemistry towards pharmaceutical. So try to build up your competency in organic chemistry. You can build up your things from masters onwards, and you can join pharmaceutical industry. And in your PhD, if you decide to do a PhD, try to focus your studies or the PhD thesis more towards biochemistry related topics. And that will be a good gateway towards going to pharmaceutical.
Okay, next Mayank Chaudhary. He is asking, I want to ask that how can I collaborate chemistry with computer science, as computer science is also flourishing much.
Yes. So in one of the aspects of chemistry we call as computational chemistry, in which people do a lot of computer modeling, and uh, this computer modeling can be applicable for both academia and in industry. So if you want to really combine this computer science and chemistry, you can do through chemistry, and you can build up your expertise in computational chemistry.
And next question is
Thank you.
from
Vishwanath.
okay, Orpon. There is
Yes.
a question regarding internship. That is why I am trying to ask this question. This is from Jayanti. That how to apply for foreign internship. I think this is a good question for every student.
How to apply for what?
For foreign internship, as you are in
Okay.
foreign industry, is it possible to carry out such kind of internship in foreign industry or not?
The answer is yes, because some of my friends have actually managed to do that during their career. Unfortunately, due to the current COVID situation, that foreign internship is not going to be easy to get, but foreign internship is definitely an option. The way to reach out to that is to go to the company portals, and the company portals actually open up internship positions. Um, I want to tell one thing. You are trying to do a foreign internship. I know several people who actually wants to do internship from foreign to Indian companies as well. So it's both that is also possible. So I would suggest that keep an eye open, be resourceful, read out, go to the company websites and see what kind of internship. Nobody is going to hold you back if you apply. So apply first, let's see.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much again. Thank you again for your such motivation. And now I would like to hand over the mic to Dr. Arpun Manna.
Thank you, Kishore and thank you, Shomo sir, for your wonderful conversation. It was really a conversation, actually, a discussion type of thing. Many of the students have put their queries in the chat box, and uh, I hope our next speakers will take the rest of the questions. So, with this, I would like to invite Dr. Dipsika Bhattacharya to chair the next session. Uh, Dr. Dipsika Bhattacharya is a PhD, completed her PhD from IIT Kharagpur, and she had done postdoc from IICD and also Institute of Material Science. Uh, and she had a 4-year experience of teaching in Aramas University. So, Dr. Dipsika Bhattacharya, kindly take.
Thank you, Arpon. Good afternoon to everyone, our respected Professor Koster, Dean sir, and all our eminent speakers and our beloved students. So I am highly thankful to introduce Dr. Titash Mondal, who is currently an assistant professor, grade 1 in our prestigious IIT Kharagpur, Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Kharagpur. Dr. Mondal obtained his BSc and MSc from CU, Calcutta University, and he had done his MTech from Rubber Technology, IIT Kharagpur, and he obtained his PhD from IIT Kharagpur. And this IIT Kharagpur is also my alma mater. So this way, I am also enjoying this introducing him in this platform. After this, he published in his PhD. He published many international journals, and it's about 18-20 international journals. He has published 7 book chapters and various US and Indian patents. And in his PhD, he worked with Houston University. It is a collaborative project, collaborative work between IIT Kharagpur and Houston University. And before joining to academia, he has served almost 4 years in a prestigious industry. The name of the industry is Momentive Performance Materials. It is a very well-known industry in silicon-based products. And after serving in this industry, he has then joined IIT Kharagpur, and now he is working on graphene and different graphene and graphite derivatives for special applications. He has served as editor in various prestigious journals. He has reviewed several prestigious papers and he's won several awards in different conferences and symposium. Now, with this, I would like to invite Dr. Titash Mondal in this platform. Dr. Titash Mondal, this platform is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bhattacharya, for the nice introduction. And I would also like to thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to speak out my journey as a chemist to a polymer technologist, and seeing both the sides of the coin, like staying in the industry and now again back to the academics. I would like to really thank the organizer for allowing me to speak on my experience, and also I would like to congratulate Adamus University, because this is a very unique thing they are doing. I mean, in our time when we graduated or when we did our masters, we didn't had such opportunities to interact with people that much. And I would like to say this is on the positive side of COVID, that what happens, there used to be many conferences and symposiums, and people used to find difficulty in reaching out to those places. But the thing is, thanks to COVID, now with this webinars and all this thing, people can start and join any conferences from any point of the world. And also it is a pleasure meeting my old colleague, Dr. Somya Sarkar, and my friend, Dr. Arpan Manna, and the next speaker, Mr. Abhishek Basu. So it's a kind of, I'm really happy to meet them all together. So with that, I will try to share my screen, but unfortunately, I have to keep my video off because there was an unexpected travel, which and the bandwidth of my internet is not so good over here. So please let me know if you can, see my screen. Is it visible now?
Yes, yes, it's visible.
Yes, visible.
Okay, thank you so much. And Dr. Soumya Sarkar has very nicely explained, what are the different pathways. I don't know if I can hide this one. Is there any way to hide this one?
Which one?
The top panel. This. Oh, okay. Okay. Now it is hidden. I believe the screen is intact now, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. So, Dr. Shomesh Sarkar, my good old friend and senior in the same company, we work together, and he nicely explained, and the different facets, like what are the career path one can achieve, dealing with chemistry, and where one can go. So basically, I will talk, in a different way. Like, once you are, suppose you selected an industry, and once you are inside an industry, how does that thing happens? And please feel free to stop me and ask me question if any in between also. So this is my institute, IIT Kharagpur. As you can see, this is a very green campus, and this is our old building. So I always feel good to share all these beautiful images of IIT Kharagpur. So today's talk, what I'm going to discuss is basically chemist's career in industry. Now, what are the different facets which are typically involved? Now, like my previous speaker has already mentioned, that there are plenty of opportunity for chemists for going into different segments and different divisions of an industry, or different verticals of industry, and come up with unique solution, providing support to the innovation happening over there. And then you develop a product, and the product which comes into the market is something brings revenue to the company. And that's how the whole cycle works actually. And through that revenue, or the profit which one company makes, basically, they pay salary, and they maintain the business and all those things. Now, my previous speaker also mentioned that product development is very critical and very tricky for anyone. Like, it's every industrial chemistry, or every industrial person who works in an industry, it is their dream to basically develop a product, and which can be commercialized in the long run. And you can proudly say, okay, that's something which I made. At least, I mean, not I mean, at least to your family members, you can say, and you can take the pride within yourself, that this is something which I made, or a part of this something which I made. Now, whenever we say that a product is developed, or anything is developed in the market, it is very easy to tell, like, oh, okay, this is something, a product which has been developed. But trust me, it is not a simple equation, or it's not so simple. So, like, Shomada mentioned, that it's a sinusoidal curve actually. So it is more like a sinusoidal curve, because you will be having a lot of ups and downs in your research. There will be a lot of frustration involved, a lot of, it's very tricky. But if I look into the product life, with that, I'm going to the next page, or next slide, is basically, I mean, I mean, ever thought, like, how a new product is launched to the market? So let us take an example. There is a pen which is available called the astronaut pen, or let us take the current example of COVID vaccine actually. So there was a pull of idea that is happening, like, some people are telling it's an mRNA based technique, some other groups are telling that it's a something else. So there are a lot of ideas which are assembled, at one place. Suppose one particular organization is working on the development of a product. Okay, so this is something which is called the idea developmental phase. As you can see, see if I can have a pointer option here. Okay, so this is something where all the ideas comes. Okay, and it is like, the bright chemist. It is not only the chemist who brings the idea. The idea can come from different segments. It can come from a layman, it can come from a customer. Anyone can, ask you for something like, I am facing this problem. Okay, what do you think? Can you develop something for us? Then a scientist, okay, who is working in an industry, he or she comes up with an idea. Basically, okay, I think if we do something like this, we can fix this issue. Okay, so similarly, scientist A comes with that idea, then scientist B will come with another set of idea, and so on. Actually, okay, so you can have a basically pool of ideas. Okay, so this is something called the idea developmental stage of a product, which when before it is launched into the market. Okay, then basically you have to work on the concept developmental part. That is, all ideas. I don't say that, every idea. What I prefer to say is that, whenever there is an idea which is coming, I mean, all ideas are good, but provided, I mean, it might happen that it is not good at that current time. Okay, it might be good, 5 years down the line. So it is, that is something. But based on the current requirement, and there are many other factors which controls. Okay, so using which you can funnel down these ideas, and you can select those, specific things which is very closely matching with the need and requirement of an industry. Okay, and this is like something which is coming into the concept developmental part. And once you do the initial proof of concept experiment and all those kind of things, and when you check that things are working, at least, if I mix A plus B, and the product which I thought on pen and paper should be C, and when you see that, it is happening, that is something you can develop as a proof of concept. Okay, C is something which is coming out. Okay, so based on that, you do the funneling. So if you start with, like, 100 sets of idea, then you land up with something like, 40 or 30 sets of odd idea. That is on the concept developmental case. Now, what happens, every idea, like I mentioned, might not fit to that current perspective. Okay, because it might be very early. Like, if somebody has predicted that, we can drive a car without a driver in, like, 1900, series that time. Okay, and people would say that person is a crazy guy. Okay, how can one drive a car without a, like, driver? But now it's a reality. People are coming up with autonomous cars. So if somebody has proposed during that series of time, it was highly inappropriate. Okay, but now if you see that that idea makes a huge sense. So based on that, again, a further funneling is done. And what they do is basically the group of people which consist of different sets of chemists and other, business persons also. And among that business person also, there are a few set of people who are from the chemistry background also. I will come to those things in a later phase of my, presentation. So they build a business case, and once the business case is something, convincing. Okay, they carry it further, and they do the developmental phase. Like, they do further work on those. Suppose I need a COVID vaccine which should be 99%, which should demonstrate a 99% efficacy. Okay, so they will, and which should not create any pain in my body. I should not have any fever. If these are something which are critical qualities. Okay, or it's more of a kind of a thing which one needs to match. Actually, okay, the scientist starts to work on those developmental phase, and parallelly what they do is basically testing and validation is very important, because, they will administer those vaccine into a group of people, and they will collect data and calculate the standard deviation, like how much challenges they are facing and things like that, what are the typical problems associated that. Okay, and testing is something which is very rigorous, like whether every batch of production, whatever I am doing, okay, are they making sense, are they showing the same degree of efficacy and all those things. So they do rigorous testing, they do rigorous testing on the purity of the material, and trust me, these are all done by mostly chemists actually, if it's a chemistry oriented industry. And now those set of material which are showing which clears this testing and validation part comes to the market, and that's how you see a product is delivered, and that brings about a lot of money to the whole system, to the company. So if you look into the whole, this is not something which I am proposing, this is something from the Harvard Business School. They have done all this kind of funnel charts basically. Okay, now there is an interesting data from Harvard Business School is 95% of the product which are launched fails because due to inappropriate testing and validation of the material which you are targeting for. So this is how a product development takes, and in this whole course basically, or whole pathway, there are plenty of opportunity for chemists, which I will cover in my closing slide actually. So where segment each and what are the different types of chemistry people, or people having a background of chemistry, can bring about basically. Okay, now this is something which is a very generic kind of thing. How does a product launch happens in the market. Okay, any product, whatever the company brings about. Okay, now there are other interesting facets also, like when you join a company, you might be given a project which is something which is having or working on an existing problem. Suppose for example, if I am joining any pharma industry. Now paracetamol is something, okay, has been there for ages basically. Okay, so you are given a job in a paracetamol scale up process basically, or in the quality process of paracetamol. So what is that basically? The company is having an existing business, and what's your role is basically you are supporting that existing product thing basically, how to maintain the quality and all those things. So this kind of thing is called the existing business of any MNCs basically. Most of the big MNCs follows this type of model actually. But there is something which is again new. Like again, going back to the COVID example, we never thought that we will be needing such kind of vaccine, that none of the drugs are working. So what is that? Is basically you need to come up and innovate new product actually. And it is again the role, and the onus is on chemists basically, different sets of chemists who can come up and innovate with such kind of new to market product basically. So for that, there is something which is called the incubation team, and which is what my next slide talks about. So as a chemist, when you join any company, so it can be done in basically two different ways. So if you see, the first one is called supporting existing business cases. That is what I told, is like for example, you have been given work in scaling up of paracetamol, or like maintaining the quality of that. And there is something called the incubation project, that is which the company is not doing currently. It is something the company is targeting for the future, like say 2 years down the line or 5 years down the line. Suppose a company is working for a beta variant of that COVID vaccine, and another company is now targeting specifically the lambda strain for the COVID. So we are coming up with a lot of strains actually. So this is something which is on the incubation project, and this is something which is very much new to the company, which is not existing in their business thing. So this is how I mean, a majority of industry works actually. And if you see these two levers actually, how does that works? And that works like, having a proper strategy. Now, this strategy, keeps, moving these two incubation project and supporting the existing business case in a nice way. Because without strategy, you will be like, lost typically. Like, Dr. Shorkar mentioned about Jack Welch actually from G, like, so those people are the strategy makers. Okay. So it can be a chemist, it can be a non-chemist, it can be an MBA degree holder. So there are a set of leaders actually, there are a set of people who decide like, how one, needs to work, and what is the direction or what is the course correction one needs to do if there is any change in the market or anything. Okay. So in nutshell, what I can say is basically most of the industries maintains a balanced portfolio of, this incubation project and supporting existing cases basically. Now in today's talk, I'll be talking mostly on the incubation projects actually. Okay, so what do you mean by the incubation project, and what do the people do for using the incubation projects exactly? Okay, so before going to that, why strategy is, so important? Now this is so important because, I mean, we all are aware of the evolution. Basically, from here to here, we have taken ages to come. Okay, but in the revolution, there is a term called industrial revolution. This is like, industrial 1.0, and now we are residing in something called industrial 4.0. So if I see evolution or revolution, in evolution there was no strategy, or there, I mean, I'm just, speculating, there might not have been any strategy. But when one people move from, the first to the fourth industrial revolution, because the first one was basically on mechanization, water power, steam power, and now people are talking about IoT, machine intelligence, artificial intelligence, and all those, things basically. Okay, so you need to have a proper strategy to control this growth. Okay, now, the other reason why strategy is so important, because most of you have changed, I mean, have seen, I mean, it's like I have seen my father using such a big Nokia cell phone. I mean, if you bang it to anyone's head, your head might break also. And now you see the slim phone actually, so slim, with all, big touch screen and all those things. So what does that indicate actually? So it indicates that the frame is shifting very rapidly. So whatever, sorry, any questions? So it's basically the frame is shifting very rapidly if you see. So how to, get yourself accustomed, or how to get yourself, how to mitigate this changes, or how to foresee like what is happening, like, I don't know if you guys have seen the Guru movie by Abhishek Bachchan actually, which is on the life of one of the Ambanis actually. Okay, so you need to be a good thinker, you need to have a very strong strategy, and along with that you need to focus on the innovation. Okay, so that's how, what we can say is that it is like, having a strategic innovation in the mind, and this is again done by a good set of chemists actually. Okay, now it's basically, if I go into the, incubation part, which I told in the previous slide that I'm going to talk about, is like, how does incubation project happens, like, so it's like, you need to keep your eyes open. There are not all people who focuses on incubation project, honestly speaking. There are set of people who, focuses on the incubation projects basically. Okay, now whose responsibility in an industry is to look out for, or scout for new opportunities, like what is happening around the globe, what are the things which is going on around the globe basically. Okay, what are the changes happening? Okay, now first and foremost is basically one can see there is a huge impetus, like, people are talking about battery driven car. Okay, people are talking about, smart wearables actually, if you are, jogging somewhere. Okay, or if you are like, doing any, they can do the fitness tracking, if suppose the bandit which we have been using for, ages actually. Okay, so in place of that, you are just sticking something which can measure your pulses, or, it can measure your heartbeat. These are something which, people are talking about basically. Okay, these are very, very new to world. So effectively these are known as the mega trends. Okay, so the incubators, or the folks who are involved in this incubation project, okay, they typically keep an eye and close watch on how is the industry changing, and what are the new, developmental side which is picking up basically. Okay, so based on that, some set of ideas are down selected, and these ideas are again, put into the funnel chart which we have discussed in the first slide actually. And then it is like, plotted against a kind of thing where it is like, ability to win in that particular vertical, and how much money it will make basically. So in the x and y axis they are plotted against this, and which seems to be, very, very much matching with the industry, where this is going to be executed. They select only those ideas, and there is a good amount of return on of investment associated with those ideas. People in those incubation project heads towards those, specific things actually. Okay, now this is little complex actually. Okay, this is complex in the sense, like, even though you think that you can make money using, or following that particular project, or doing that particular project in that way, but there are a lot of factors which, involved when, taking a decision whether to kick it or whether to kiss it basically. Okay, so this is what, the thing which involves in the mind of those, decision makers at that time. And how is it done, so it is typically done via thing which I am going to, share in my next slide. But before going even further actually, when you think of like, I need to go with this type of ideas and all those things, it is always, advisable to look back into the history. Okay, because something, in my career, I have seen, when I joined, Dr. Shorkar was working already there, and he suggested me many things like, I have tried this might not work actually. Okay, so this is how it saves time basically. So history is something, which is very important. One should, go back and see the existing literature, or existing, articles or documents, or any classified information which is available inside the organization. Or you may also see the literature, available literature in the market, or the other companies, competitor companies. You can see, what has been already done. So if something has been already done, there is, no point in reinventing the wheel actually. Okay, so history is something which is very important. Now down select the mega trend, as I said, like, these are something which is very important. Now when you do that, basically what is the thing, next comes, which are the final thing which goes into the funnel actually, which goes ahead into the funnel. Okay, so that is done via following a simple mantra which is called the DVF mantra. Now you need to have a good desirability. Okay, that is, that is something, someone wants. Like for example, COVID vaccine is something but everyone is, wanting. Okay, so there is a high desirability, okay, for development of a COVID vaccine. Okay, now there is something which is called feasibility. Okay, now is that, something we are able to do. Like for example, in my lab in IIT Kharagpur, if I want to develop a COVID vaccine, I don't have those facility, so it is not at all a feasible process for me. Okay, and then it does have a very good strong case Okay, that is something which is also comes under the umbrella of viability. Okay, so if you see, DVF is something which is very important. Okay, so whenever you are incubating something, or you are coming up with any nice idea, basically you need to have this sweet spot of thing. It's an intersection, basically. So you need to have an overlapping desirability, feasibility, and viability. So all green check, and then that particular concept is taken to the next level. Okay, so the sweet spot here, that's the overlap zone, is called innovation. That is something, or someone wants it, we can do it, and we should do it, basically. Okay, so if there is something, there is cross, like in the first example about the COVID vaccine, what I told is like, there is a strong desirability, there is a strong viability, but in terms of feasibility, if I want to develop that in my Kharagpur lab, I cannot do that. Okay, but there are plenty of examples, like you have a desirability, you can make that. Okay, but spending time on that thing, okay, is it like viable for the company to explore time and manpowers on that? It might, if you do a calculation on the return of investment, it might sound that it's a stupid idea. So the viability part goes off, actually. So to have a product developed in a company, okay, you need to have all these green checks done, actually. Okay, so this is something which is a mantra one should follow. Okay, now there is, I don't know, might be Orpon Manna, we are of almost same age. We might have seen the movie called Rocket Singh. So it was like, Ranbir Kapoor was the actor. Okay, so he was a super salesman. Whenever anything is required, he does it in very rapidly, actually. Or let me take the example of Ranchor Das Chachar of Three Idiots, actually. So if any demonstration is required, he will drop chutney in one's food, and that person will shout and tell the price of that, price tag of that shoe, actually. So you need to be very fast. Okay, you need to basically demonstrate very nicely, and the easiest way to do that is via rapid prototyping. You are developing something, okay, which is in the concept stage. You build that, you refine that based on the suggestion whatever you get from the review, and then you come up with the, like, prototype. So that helps, because if you come up with that and show it to your customer, it really helps, basically. So be Rocket Singh or Rancho Das Chachar, whatever you want, basically. Again, this is something very important when you are especially incubating or coming up with a new project, actually. Okay, the next thing, which is even more critical, is to have patents, like Fung Suk Wangdu. Again, going back to Three Idiots, like he has so many patents, actually. Now patent is something which is very critical, like I don't know, most of you are Bengali background, I see. So there was a movie in West Bengal called Rasgulla. I don't know how many of you have seen. So there was a big debate about patent of Rasgulla. Who is the ideal owner of Rasgulla? Who discovered Rasgulla? And all those things, actually. So if you don't do patent, things will happen like that, actually. Okay, you cannot, patent is something which is like protecting your ideas on geographical terms and condition, actually. So if you think that you invented something very novel, which is not like a layman can mix X and Y and come up with the product Z. So, and there is some degree of inventiveness involved in that particular thing, you should protect that idea, because that can fetch a lot of money to you. Okay, now the question is, why am I telling all these things to you, such a young audience and such a dynamic audience? The reason is, basically, who will do all these things? It is no one, but it's a team, basically. Or in nutshell, I can say it is you who can make all this thing happen. Like, for example, if there is any synthesis involved, right? Okay, so there is a strong role of organic chemist or inorganic chemist. Like, people can do very nice synthesis. I have seen, including Dr. Shorkar, I have seen, like, such a nice synthetic skill set. So people comes up with a product, actually. So I mean, kind of a molecule, basically. Okay, now they reach out and to the analytical team, like people with analytical chemistry. Okay, they do the GPC, they do the HPLC, they determine what not, basically. So they help to characterize the developed product, basically. In an industry, typically you work as a team. It is not like I developed a material, I should go and characterize, I should do everything. It is not. It is basically a teamwork. So the group of people who synthesize the material, okay, reach out to the analytical folks, and they do the characterization, okay, and they tells, okay, this is what is the purity level of your material, or this is what is the kind of an unknown material which is coming in the NMR peak, like that way. Okay, then there is another group of people which is called the computational chemist, actually. Okay, what do they do? Like, you can do, so for example, you invented any catalyst. Okay, so you can do one approach to check the efficacy of the catalyst is via you know going for 1,000 2,000 sets of reaction. Basically, you are trying whether this is working or it's not working. That is how you can execute, basically. Okay, and the other way is something which is the computational chemist can help you to reduce the time, basically. And how do they do that? They run the simulation in certain software, and for example, they can predict, okay, if you use in this particular catalyst or this based catalyst in any reaction, okay, your energy of activation will be lower for this and this condition. Okay, so without going to the lab, they can simply help you, minimize your effort, basically. So doing 1,000 sets of reaction, it doesn't make sense in terms of time. It consumes a lot of time. So there are highly motivated computational chemists who are stationed in an industry, who helps the people who work in the lab, basically. Okay, now you get a green check from the chemist, then you get a green check from the analytical chemist, and the computational chemist helps you in the whole process, basically. Then there is another group of people who are called the process engineer. There can be role of chemist, there can be role of chemical engineers also in this particular field. So once this is done, basically, they will help you in scaling up the process, basically. Okay, they will help, like, you have to use this reactor, this big vessel for carrying out the reactions, basically. Okay, now the boss, I should say, is safety chemistry. Normally, they are the people who will tell, no, 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 don't do in this way, it might explode. They will look into the safety perspective. Like, if you are, for example, taking KMNO4 and mixing sulfuric acid to that, what are the precautions you need to take in that particular reaction? They will analyze the whole process, and it is, who does that job? It is no one but a chemist, basically. Okay, now again, when you got everything clear, okay, then comes the IP specialist. The IP specialist role can come, prior also to this process engineer and safety chemist. Now, IP specialists are the people who will help you to draft the patent, who will help you to put the claims, so that no other people can intrude in your space, basically. So what you can see is that if you study chemistry, there is a huge prospect for each and every one of you. Like, for example, I'm really indebted to one person, that is Professor Aroko Bhoram Shaha from Nandapur Ramakrishna Mission. Actually, after my MSc in organic chemistry, I shifted to MTech in rubber technology. Then there was, my friends were telling, why are you taking this decision? But at that time, I wanted to have an exposure into the polymers and how materials works, basically. So that time, he told me, he was the one who suggested and supported me, actually, that you should go into that direction, actually. So I should say, when you guys are studying chemistry, there are a lot of prospect, as you can see in this short talk. And I think chemists can really do wonder. And I believe that is something you should have a confidence in yourself. That is something which is very important. And you can see there are a lot of prospect for the chemists. So with that, this is my team, basically, at IIT Kharagpur, who are working with me. And with that, I would also like to thank my different industrial partners who are currently funding my projects, basically, and my collaborators. And the other key thing is basically perseverance. You should have a self-belief with what Dr. Shortcut started his talk. And, that is something which is very important. So with that, I will end my talk, and please feel free to ask question. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you, Dr. Hitash Mandal. It's a marvelous talk. We have just enjoyed this 40 moments. You have discussed so many things. And now I will ask you some questions. I will just read some questions what students have asked you. And the first question I will ask you, this is a student, Shuporna Maiti. She asked that, sir, I am a student of BSc first year. How can I go to drug industry? Sir, please, can you please explain her?
I think, Suparna, there are plenty of opportunities. Like, you are in BSc right now. So you can start early in your career in a drug industry by joining. There are a lot of positions which are available over there. But my strong suggestion will be, if you are given with an opportunity, it is better always to go for a master's program and then you shift for a, because certain basics which are, you will be also exposed in your educational career, that is required actually. But like Dr. Sarkar mentioned, LinkedIn is the best place, I should say. You should use it diligently, reach out to people, connect with people. You may drop your CV also in LinkedIn, that, and you can also write, like for me, I used to write that open for job, or available for job, like that way. And that's how I got a call from the industry actually, or actively seeking for a job. So you can write those things next to your name. So if there is any requirement, people will definitely reach out to you. So that's a platform you can effectively use actually.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Sir, there is another question from Jayanti.
Uh-huh.
The question is from Jayanti. The question is, are postdocs supposed to pursue research in same field as doctorate? Actually, she wants to mean that the fields should be same after research, after PhD.
That's a good question, Jayanti, right?
Yeah, Jayanti.
Okay,
Yeah.
Jayanti, that's a good question actually. See, it depends, but I will strongly suggest is that, in postdoc you can, when you do a PhD, basically you are working under a mentor or a guide basically, and you are working on the expertise what he or she is having strongly, because the problem is given to you in that way. Okay, but I strongly will encourage a people, like, to do something new and start something. There should be a close proximity. Like, for example, my entire PhD was on a carbon nanomaterial called graphene actually. Okay, so I was working on different chemistry on the surface modification of graphene, and then I shifted. Graphene was there during my postdoctoral days, but I moved into more into polymer composite. So polymer is something which I also brought together, excluding graphene. So you have to play on your strength, what you learned in a PhD, and then you also try to bring new things. Okay, so that you also learn new things, so that you can, have, expand your domain basically. So I hope that answered your question, Jayanti.
Yes, sir. Jayanti, I think she is satisfied. And one last question. That is this question from Shayok Shamanto.
Uh-huh.
He asked that I am a student of BSc Chemistry. How can I
Mhm.
join DRDO with efficiency of chemistry? Actually, the same question I think he has asked.
Okay.
After
Okay.
completion of BSc, how he will join DRDO?
Yes, I think one should IDRDO, because one should work for the nation also. So,
Yeah,
so rather
yeah.
than going into the MNCs, one should also think for joining the defense lab and all those national importance lab. So I think, Shayok, that was his
Yeah,
name, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it is Shayok. I think there are a lot of, examinations which are held separately by DRDO after different stages. Like, they have certain set of qualification. It can be bachelor's or master's. In that way you need to appear for those examination, and I'm not sure if they are taking from this year any gate qualified, because in many such organization which are like, government, uh, you know funded or government backed, actually they give very much credibility to the gate qualification, which can be done after masters, unfortunately. Okay, so right after your bachelor's it might be little tricky, but always keep an eye actually based on the applications whatever you get. Now this is something I would just like to spend 1 minute. Actually, there are different other PSUs also, including many oil industries, who gives credit to the gate score. Actually, if you have a nice gate score, okay, you may directly apply to those organizations like ONGC. You can apply to BPCL, HPCL. These are the oil companies where you can have different roles actually. So I think but that's obviously after your masters.
Okay, sir. I think yeah, he got his answer. Now, with this, I want to thank you for
Thank you
your
so much.
wonderful presentation. Now, the mic is for
I have
Devapratim.
Dipseti,
Okay,
I
for
have some
Arpan Panna.
question to Titas
Okay, okay,
actually.
okay. Okay.
So Titas, actually, since it's a career-oriented conference, so I have question means the students actually ask this question when I teach them or we teach them. So I am reflecting those questions only because I have nothing to bring build new career with me. All that. So the question is that people are confused about the gate and NEET. Man, can you elaborately tell me that the
Right.
opportunities of gate and NEET?
Right. Thank you, Orpon. I think that's a very good discussion. One should have a good clarity rather, gate and net. Now, net is something, I don't know if there is any change. When I qualified my net exam, it
Not so
was
change.
like
Only
not so
pattern
change.
change.
Okay,
Pattern
so
change.
it is basically when you are typically in your second semesters of your master's program, you can appear for second or third semester, or one I forgot actually.
Yes, yes.
This
Third semester.
third semester, yeah, when you are in third semester of your master's degree, MSc. So let's say example, you are doing MSc in chemistry, you can appear for your net. Okay, you can also appear for your net exam after, in the fourth semester also. But if you want to appear early little bit, you can appear during the third semester of your master's program. Okay, so after that, once you qualified net, there are three categories. Okay, the first category is CSIR, the second one is UGC, and the third one is lecturership. Okay, normally CSIR and UGC is a fully funded program. Like, the central government funds this, MHRD funds particular scholarship to the individual guys who qualify the net exam, and they can independently, provided they want to stay in India and they want to carry out a PhD in India, they can reach out to different labs actually in IIScs or IITs or places like this actually, or any other national universities, or wherever they want actually. Okay, they can reach out to the individual professor, and if the professor's choice or the field of expertise or what the professor is also looking and what the student is also working, if both the things are in line, so they can start their PhD career. So that is something number one. Okay, at least I can give you a viewpoint from the IIT perspective. Is basically there is another route to go into the PhDs in IITs, is basically via gate qualification. Okay, normally if somebody is like applying for institute fellowship, a certain degree, and like whatever a student get from the net qualification, the same amount is reciprocated by the institute fellowship also. Let's say it is 31,000 now. Okay, if he or she is applying to any IITs, okay, so normally they need a very high gate score. Like, for example, you need to have a very good high gate score to apply for a PhD program, into any IIT. Let's say I know about IIT Kharagpur, that is what I'm telling. So that is one. You can directly go into the research if you are having a high gate score with a fellowship via the institute, scholarship. Okay, that is one. The second way, what people can do if they qualify the gate is have a transition. Like I see Joita asked a question, like how did you transition or why did you transition from an MSc to MTech. So you can have a transition from an MSc in chemistry to MTech in many subjects like rubber technology, material science, solid state physics, different IITs and other places offers. So you can also go into the tech degree. Actually, you can earn a technology, masters of technology, thing also, and you can shift into the close proximity of chemistry to learn new thing, and which is definitely beneficial. Like, I did my MSc chemistry in organic chemistry, and following that, when I shifted to MTech in rubber technology, I learned a lot about the polymers. I learned a lot about the processing of polymers, how to handle those materials, and that's something added advantage. So I think, Orpon, probably it answers your question,
Yes,
like,
yes, yes.
how it
Actually,
can go.
this is the main thing that some of the people, especially they want to do pursue the MTech after MSc, right?
Right, right,
So
right.
this pursuing MTech, how it benefits actually means what you have already told, that what the added qualities that you have added in your career. That's very
Right,
important thing. Uh,
right.
my another question is that if a person uh, just passed MSc actually, but he or she is not getting any opportunity to internship or further any uh, uh, further any opportunity to work in the laboratory, then
Mhm.
uh, is there any option that he can opt for the industry, or if he put his or her CV in LinkedIn, that how he can be absorbed by the industry? Is there any possibility or the probability of absorbance is what?
See, in our time, probably, I don't know if Dr. Shoma Sarkar is also there here. In our previous organization, what we used to see, there are a lot of internship position which used to come up. See, it happens via two way actually. First way is like, for internship, there is something which is your they will post it in LinkedIn or the company profile, and the student can apply for those internship, and that can support those interns anything starting from 30,000 to 40,000. For example, a couple of my student is working in an industry as an intern for their master's thesis, and that company is paying them pretty good actually, so they will be working for 1 year. That is one way. Second way, they might reach out to their advisors also. At times what happens, their advisors can also help in getting connected to different industry people, and they might request their friends in industry to circulate the CV internally, so that that's another possible way how one can get an internship position. Like many a times it happens that there is a need for intern, but they don't advertise, they just keep it, they look internally only. But it happens that there is a good candidate, and if the CV falls at the correct time to that particular manager on time, so that person is hired. Actually, we have seen such cases actually.
Okay, thank you, Didas. I I am thankful actually because you have answered some question, because we also have sometimes we don't have as a teacher don't have some clues regarding this, and when student asks this sort of question. Uh, over to Dipsika Di. Uh,
Thank you, Orpon. Pleasure seeing you after so many years.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank you.
Arpon. Thank you, Dr. Pitash Mondal, for your wonderful lecture. And you have shared so many, you have answered so many questions, and you have explained in such a lucid way, and it cleared many confusion. What confusion we have also keeping in our mind, and it's a blessing for our students to have such speakers like you, because we didn't get such opportunities in our and thanks to COVID also we didn't get such opportunities, such options in our life. So now with
Absolutely.
this, yeah, now with this they are fortunate enough, and now with this I will uh, transfer this platform to Dr. Debapratim Das, and now first to Dr. Arpon Manna, and he will introduce Dr. Debapratim Das. Okay, Doctor, thanks. Over to Arpon Manna, Dr. Arpon Manna.
Thank you, Dipsika Di, as well as Titas, for accepting our invitation, as well as expressing the lucid way that how the student can pursue the career if they choose chemistry as one of their prime subject. So now I'm moving to the next session of this conference. So I would like to invite Dr. Devapratim Das to take over the session. Dr. Devapratim Das is an efficient organic chemist. He had uh, done PhD from IIT Kharagpur. Also, he had the industrial experience. He had worked for 1 year in Chembiotech, Kolkata, and then he had joined Adamas University as an assistant professor. So Dr. Devapratim Das is a budding scientist and very, very energetic faculty member, I can tell. So Dr. Devapratim Das, it's over to you.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Thank you, Arpanda. I welcome everyone from the Department of Chemistry to this wonderful session, and it's a very good interactive session going on. So I'm going to invite our next speaker, Professor Mr. Abhishek Basu. Are you there? Hello.
Abhishek, are you there? Basu is there. Abhishek,
Sir, are you there?
Abhishek. No, Abhishek is there. He told me that I'm there, but I don't know. Abhishek.
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Just a moment.
Okay. Mr. Abhishek Basu, he is a renowned scientist and he has a very good experience and prolonged experience in digital marketing and sales. He did his BTech in chemical technology from Calcutta University. After that, he did executive MBA from Symbiosis University, Pune. He has 11 years of professional experiences, and currently he is working with Henkel Adhesives, a German company in manufacturing of chemicals, which is in Pune. So with this short info, I like to invite Mr. Basu to deliver his speech. Please take over the platform.
Thank you. Thank you to all the professors for organizing this and giving me an opportunity to speak in such a platform. And also I welcome and thank all the students who have participated and listening to this exciting and very session. So I hope I'm audible now.
Yes, you are audible. I'm visible too.
So I'll be sharing my screen now. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. So before I begin, just wanted to thank the other professors and also the panelists who have already shared their experience. I was listening to Dr. Sharkar and Dr. Titash as well. I think they have covered almost every point. So being the last speaker, this is always a challenge that how do you say new things to the same audience? And they have actually spoken about the academics, they have spoken about the industrial part as well. So I have kept very few slides and I will also try to give you a different view to an industry. Okay, so let me begin. I have put a small slide about myself. So my name is Abhishek Basu. I'm born and raised in Calcutta. I started my career in a company named AkzoNobel, which is a Dutch MNC. They are into decorative paints and other protective coatings. So I got into this company by campus placement. Then in the year 2012, I joined a company named Henkel. So Henkel is again a German company who are into manufacturing chemicals, and to be precise, we are into manufacturing of engineering adhesives. So I have been working in different roles in last few years. Talking about my academic background, I did my graduation in chemistry from Scottish Church College. Followed by that, I had a degree in chemical technology from University of Calcutta, as you all know as Raja Science College. After that, I started my career and hello.
অভিষেক আওয়াজটা না একটু কিরকম কেটে কেটে আসছে।
Hello. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Now it's you are audible, but there is some glitches are there, I hope.
Okay. Is there glitches? I'm connected to Wi-Fi. I don't know.
Yeah, kindly connect.
Is it still so, or should I?
No, it's still there. Some glitch means because it is vibrating actually, your sound.
Okay. Just let me stop share and I will share it again.
Yeah. No problem.
Okay. Can you hear me now better? Is it better?
It's better, but I maybe some.
Is there an echo?
Hello.
Is there an echo?
It's not echo actually, but some vibration is there. It means something is.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Now it's okay. Now it's okay.
Okay. I
Now
think,
share it.
yeah, I will share. So maybe you couldn't hear me properly.
Yes.
Okay. So everything is good, right?
Yes. Everything good.
Okay, thank you. So as I was saying that I started my career with a company named AkzoNobel. I got into this job with campus placement. It was a Dutch MNC who are into manufacturing of coatings. I started my career in protective coatings business division. After that, I changed a company named Henkel, who are into manufacturing of industrial and engineering adhesives. And I've also worked in different roles in that organization. I'm currently working with Henkel only. Talking about academic background, I did my graduation in chemistry from Scottish Church College. After that, I went to Calcutta University. I pursued BTech in chemical technology, which is a course which is available, I think, in very few of those universities. So I was very sure that where I want to head to. That's why I moved to tech from chemistry. If I put it differently, I wanted to move to applied chemistry from pure chemistry. So after that, as I said, I got placed into a company named AkzoNobel. During my career, I have also pursued executive MBA from Symbiosis Institute of Management Studies. So that's it about my background. I'm talking a bit about my personal life. So like millions of other Bengalis, I also live out of Bengal for my living. Currently, I'm living in Pune with my family. And the second one is also just like any other Bengali. I think I'm very much passionate about football and music. And cheers to Argentina fans today who have watched the match today morning. So going to the next slide. So we are here to understand the career prospects if we study chemistry after our high school. So let me tell you that Dr. Sharkar and Dr. Titash Mondol, they have already explained you different aspects of studying chemistry. Since I belong to the industry, I belong to a particular industry, I will be able to give you an insight of how industry looks at a candidate or a person who has a background of chemistry. Secondly, I will also talk about how you can add value when you come to an industry. So as you can see on my slide, that after completion of graduation or post-graduation or doctorate or postdoctorate, you can look forward to following options. You can go for academics, you can start teaching in colleges, universities, you can pursue research. When I say research, you can pursue research in universities or many such organizations. I've been seeing that people are taking names of DRDO or many such government funded or government owned laboratories where you can actually develop something for the benefit of nation. Now, last point is that manufacturing industry. It is not that manufacturing industry does not involve research and development, but Titash has already talked a bit about that when you do a research and development in an industry, it involves some commercial benefits. That is the major difference between doing a research for an institute and doing a research for an organization. So let us first understand that if I study chemistry, if I move ahead with chemistry, what are the industries that can be looked into, or what are the industries that would think about taking me in? So pharmaceuticals, as we all know that in pharmaceuticals, you can take many, I wouldn't like to take names, but then I changed my. Hello. Can you mute other participants? Yeah.
Rosusa, mute.
So first of all, I thought that I should not take names of any companies, because this is a public program. But then I changed my mind that if I tell you some names of those companies, maybe you will be able to know few names, new names, which are not aware of. So when we talk about pharmaceutical, there are many companies who are into manufacturing drugs and developing drugs. Let's say Cipla, Dr. Reddy's Lab, Sun Pharma, Alkem Laboratories, and there are so many. Okay, so when you have completed your MSc degree or doctorate, other things, so there's a scope that you can work in their quality control department or research and development. Now quality control can be of two types. One is quality control of the finished product. Another part is that quality control of the raw materials that come inside the factory. So quality control itself is a big topic. So what do you need to do? Probably with the knowledge of chemistry, you will be able to evaluate the performance and the parameters of those products, whether they're good or bad, or they need some changes, because you have already been through those experiments. You have seen many of those equipments, you know how to handle those equipments. So that is also an edge over others when they look at you. Talking about paints and coatings, yes, I have worked in this particular industry. So in paints and coatings, there are many people with chemical background working. They mostly work in technical service, technical departments, product development, and of course, quality control and quality analysis, QC or QA. So when I talk about paints and coating, I think as a student, you have not been exposed to other sort of paints apart from decorative paints. So what the kind of paints that is applied outside or inside our home, that is called decorative paint in the industry. So those are mostly water-based paints with a particular type of resin being used. But there's a huge industry of paints. People are making millions and billions of dollars in paints industry, which you are not aware of. Just to give you an example, the automotive paint, the paint what you see on the car, is a big industry. When you see a car roaming around for 15 years, 20 years, people expect the gloss to remain same. So you can understand what kind of research and development have gone into that. There's a huge coating opportunity in marine industry as well. You see big ships, they are floating around the world, floating in the ocean around the world for 20-25 years. So you can understand a coating which is protecting the steel from corrosion, and which is actually dipped inside the water, saline water. So what kind of pigments or what kind of resins that are being used to make those coatings? So when I say paints, it is not about only decorative paints. If you talk about the refrigerator you are using, the AC you are using, everywhere there is a coating, and every coating needs a special property. Okay, so there are protective coatings, there are decorative coatings, there are powder coatings, there are specialty plastics and specialty coatings. This is a big industry, and definitely these are nothing but chemicals. So if these are chemicals, this must be derivative of some basic material, some aromatic or aliphatic, some organic or sometimes inorganic pigments as well. So definitely with the knowledge you have after BSc or MSc, you can get into this industry. Now talking about the polymer, I think everybody knows what polymer is. But if I talk about industry, we need to understand how polymer is used in an industry. So polymer is not only plastic granules. Okay, I have put a photograph of plastic granules, but polymer can be used everywhere. Now, if I talk about car, the dashboard of a car, the door handle of a car, the inside of a car, everything is polymer. The bumper of the car, the steering of the car is nothing but a polymer. So there is a huge industry who waiting outside to for people who have studied polymer or chemistry. So usually tire is an industry. We know there are many big manufacturers in India who are into tires. They all sometimes absorb people from chemical background. Plastic industry, plastic can be, there are so many. You have Nilkamal, you have Cello, you have Supreme, and you do not know there are so many big giants who are into manufacturing of automotive components, and they're using nothing else but polymer. But you do not know those names because they do not come on TV or newspaper. Okay, so yes, there are industries, they are waiting for you. Then there's something else called adhesives on sealants. This is where I belong to. I work for a company named Henkel, which is the world's largest adhesive manufacturer. So this is also a very interesting thing. I mean, which is not taught in academics, but this is again a chemical. So we have many research scientists in our lab who are developing product for different industries. They are usually doctorate, or they are usually a PhD degree holder, or sometimes they are people with postdoctorate qualification as well. But sometimes people are from master degree, or people are from tech background, are also working in different functions for these industries. I noticed an very interesting question where people are actually inquiring about difference between tech and science degree. That if there are people around with tech degree, then why would people look at us? Well, there are positions which are exclusive for tech people. There are positions exclusively for people with science background. You are not actually competing with each other. If you find a position you are competing with each other, then probably that is not the right place. So there are niche positions, or there are positions which can be filled in by this particular qualification only. So we are actually not competing with each other. Everybody has a place. So last but not the least, the industrial chemicals. So I mean, this is a big industry. What I try to mean by industrial chemical is that it can be any chemical which is used as raw material for other industry, or it can be a finished product for that particular industry which is sold in the market. Let's say caustic soda or nitric acid. So nitric acid can be a product for a company which they are selling in the market. Or sometimes the caustic soda, which is a product for a particular company, but they sell it as a raw material to detergent industry. So there are several industries in India and the world who are into manufacturing of different chemicals, and who other than a chemist or a qualified chemistry personnel would understand about the intricacies of this industry, you know. So I will move on to my next slide. So since you are students, probably you have not been to industry apart from for a vocational training or a one-day tour, you really do not know how an industry functions. So let me first tell you, there are two types of industries. One is service industry, one is manufacturing industry. So what is service industry? The software industry, let's say Infosys, TCS, Google, Microsoft. So that is a different type of industry. The structure is different. Now, if you talk about manufacturing industry, so this is a general structure of any manufacturing industry, whether they are manufacturing caustic soda or whether they are manufacturing car. This is a general structure of any company. Now, why did I put up this slide? I need to look into this picture and understand where I place myself, where there is a scope of a person who has studied chemistry or probably polymer science or any other thing. So there is a factory head or general manager or the owner of the company, as you want to call it. And there are different functions which reports to this particular person. So whenever you manufacture a product, now you understand how a product is manufactured. So first of all, people do not invent anything every day. For example, if I am manufacturing a derivative of benzene, let's say, I know how it is made. If I'm manufacturing steel, I know how it is made. I have already finalized that. I will not be reinventing everything every day. So now I have a process in place. I have some equipments in place. I know that I'm going to make this much of quantity tomorrow. So how does it work? There is some called production department who actually are in charge of this entire process. Now, what kind of support that production guy needs? They need some raw materials. So you can see that, I don't know how you can pointer. Okay, so here's the production and supply department. So this guy needs raw materials for his production. Who will buy this raw material? People from purchase department will provide him all the raw materials he needs. Now he may say, I need this much quantity of X item, this much quantity of Y item. Now he cannot keep on saying this again and again every day, right? So there is something called planning department who plans based on his idea. He says, I need to make, let's say, 1 million liters of nitric acid in next month. So he plans what are the other things for needed for this. Then there is purchase. There is manufacturing department who actually produces this material. There is equipment department. You can have a distillation column, you can have a heat exchanger, you can have so many other things in an industry, right? They need to be taken care of. If not available, you have to purchase that. So probably equipment department takes care of that. There is something called QC department who work in laboratory. So what does he do? So basically whatever product is manufactured out of this department, it goes to QC department first before it is shipped to outside world. So whenever we use anything in our daily life, like a mobile phone or TV or anything, sometimes we say that there's a manufacturing defect. We put up a complaint saying manufacturing defect. So what is manufacturing defect? So somebody in quality department did not check it properly and passed it. So it had a defect, but it did not go through that QC department in the right way. That's why it's in your hand now with a faulty feature. So that's how this department works. Then there's something called R&D department, research and development. Now you need to understand these people usually work for long-term vision. I'm taking up a project today. I'm not supposed to deliver tomorrow morning or even next week. So R&D is a very deep word, I would say. That research and development, sometimes you need to make small changes in a product that calls for R&D people. Sometimes you need to make a revolutionary product, all something new out of nowhere. That can be an also R&D thing. For example, you buy a paint from a very reputed company. You put it outside, but you always see that there is black fungus. Whenever after rainy season, you see black fungus outside your wall. That means the product is good, but it does not have antifungal property. So when this complaint goes from sales department to R&D, this R&D will take up projects that we need to add up some chemical in order to avoid fungal growth in the coating, because that is a complaint. If this persists, so people will stop buying our paint. So that is the job of R&D department. So maybe they will take 1 month or few weeks to add few chemicals and to bring in this property where there will be no antifungal growth. So I'm not making a new product altogether. I'm changing few properties of an existing product. Or else maybe today I take a project. I'm an R&D person. I take a project. I want to develop a product out of natural ingredients, out of ingredients from tree. I want to make a paint which is made out of ingredients of tree. Now that is something probably does not exist. So that is a development which it will take 3 years or 2 years or something. So there is financial departments. Of course, every company financial department is the most important thing, and there's HR and other things. So why do you see yourself in a company, in a chemical company or in another company, if you are probably a degree holder of chemistry? It can be anything, BSc, MSc, doctorate. So I would give you an idea where you can work probably. So definitely research and development is a big area where people go to. But let me also tell you, whatever my experience is, that at least master degree, and if not more, is the minimum necessity for this department. It also depends on the size of the company. Bigger organizations always prefer to people with PhD or postdoc. So you can also find people with master degree in this department. Rarely you'd find people that have with graduation, basic graduation in this department. Sales department, definitely people are here with sales and marketing and business development, these kind of ideas. People are here with technical background. I'm an example of that. I have been doing this successfully for quite some time. Why it is so? So, I mean, being a student, I can understand you have different perception about marketing or sales. You do not know what actually, because when you go to a shop for a daily thing, you have a different perception about this thing. But we are now talking about B2B business, business to business environment. So sometimes, for example, you manufacture a transformer. I'm giving a random example. And you are sitting in a meeting with Calcutta Electric Supply Corporation. So don't you think you should be knowing each and every technical details of your transformer? Because the other person sitting on the other side of the table is an electrical engineer. So the person representing my company selling the transformer should be an electrical engineer, because he has to explain everything about that equipment. Same goes for chemicals as well. So that's why people with tech background, people with science background, they are put in sales and marketing, because if you have to explain the feature of a product, you should be technically very, very sound, because the other person is technically sound whom you are communicating with. Laboratory QC, definitely this is a place where you can certainly work with a chemical background. Equipment department, not necessarily, maybe. Okay. Production, yes, sometimes, but honestly speaking, people with tech degrees are preferred in production department, not with science, but there can be exceptions in some industries like pharmaceutical and other things, which I am not aware of. Planning department, definitely planning department you can, because when I'm talking about planning, you know, I have to make, let's say, 15 tons of caustic soda in next quarter. So what are the raw materials? Which are the parameters to choose a right raw material? I don't know. I don't know how do you select the parameter of a benzene derivative or toluene or xylene or anything. So probably a person, I mean, for example, somebody with different background, he does not know. For example, I'm that person. I do not know what is this. So definitely I would hire a person who knows chemistry so that he can plan for that. So what I'm trying to say is that there are many, many functions and companies available in India and around the world for you. But it is important that you know this. Now, I understand it is very difficult being a student to know all these things. But you may have a coach or a guide like your professors who can guide you for these things. So before I move on to the final point, the slide which I have shown a few minutes back, I need you to think over it and identify your point, that why do you see yourself adding value in this function? See, let me be honest, I have seen people after MSc degree working in bank also. There's nothing wrong about it. If he's making money, he's happy, probably, I mean, he's happy, that is the end of the day. But at this juncture, I'm sure none of you would be aspiring that, right? So that's why you are asking. We are here to make you understand about how industry works or how you can pursue your career differently. So it is very important to choose the right industry. For example, if you look at Sundar Pichai, and there's a big name I'm taking, Sundar Pichai has a BTech on metallurgical engineering. He has a MS in material science. Today, he is the leader of company named Google. How does it sound? How does it match? For outside world, it does not match. I mean, metallurgy, Google, how does it match? Because we don't know the entire picture, right? So thing is that before joining Google, he has worked in some consultancy firm where actually he was utilizing his knowledge of metallurgy. You can go to internet and read about that. So choosing the right industry is also important. Now, right industry itself is a very difficult to understand word. So if you want to pursue drug industry or paint industry or specialty polymer, specialty chemicals industry. So what kind of qualification you should have? Now you should choose your qualification based on that. Again, start with an objective in mind. So as I said during my introduction, I was very clear. I was probably not very clear when I was in class 11 or 12, but by the time I was finishing my graduation, I was very clear what I want to do. And I followed that, and today I think I'm successful. So start with an objective in mind, that today maybe you are in MSc second year, today you are in BSc third year. So why do you want to pursue PhD? Why do you want to go to industry? Just because your best friend is pursuing PhD? Or is it because you are not getting anything else, that's why you want to do that? So don't take decision based on these things. Based on have some exposure. I'm sure you have better exposure nowadays rather than we had. What you are getting to hear right now, we didn't have this opportunity. We actually took decision based on our perceptions. I never had seen industry when I took decision that I want to go to industry. So based on perception, but still, I mean, it worked, right? So you need to now since you have that exposure, you have the opportunities, you need to think before taking a decision about any next step. Application of science. So I'm sure the people who are with science background, they know the science like back of their hand. You are the expert. But trust me, if you want to come to industry, you need to also understand application of science. I think Titash also emphasized on this point that in industry, somebody is trying to make business out of a product. Okay, so there can be 3 different ways to manufacture sulfuric acid, and you know all of these 3 processes. But when you are coming in an industry, you need to be sure, or you need to be aware of a process which will make the sulfuric acid commercially viable. I want millions of liters of sulfuric acid to be produced in a year with a feasible logic, you know. So application of science is very important, and that's why probably how you are differentiated from other. So next point is edge over others. So I saw many questions where put up question, how can I go abroad? How can I study in other universities? How can I enter into an industry? How can I start a career in this industry? So first of all, you need to think over this really. Why should that industry hire you? Just because you have qualification? Probably not. Okay, because there are many people with same qualification. So it is actually about you who is the differentiator. So when I take an interview, probably I'm taking interview of 10 people, all of them have same qualification. So it is about the person, what he brings onto the table in those 15 minutes or 30 minutes, about his knowledge. That is actually the differentiating factor when I select a person for a particular role. So have edge over others and that can be anything. That is not necessary with your marks. Sometimes the person on the other side is not actually looking for a scorecard. He's looking for what is in your inside. And let me also tell you, when we hire freshers, any industry for that matter, or should I say in some industries, when we hire freshers, we do not put them in a particular department from the day one. So sometimes the industry people are also not sure where you will be able to work. What are your competencies? It is very difficult to judge some in 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So that's why there's a training period of 6 months or 1 year in some companies where we judge your competencies. And based on that, you'll be put in research and development or sales or quality or production and other things. But for you, it is important to get into that industry first. Then let them decide what are your competencies, because they are better experienced. Holistic approach. So look at things with overall perspective. When you think about pursuing PhD in a foreign country, or when you are thinking about industry, look at a holistic approach. What does it mean for you? What do you want to do after 5 years? Or what subject you are taking? If you are taking a particular subject in a research method, what exactly is it relevant? Is it going to be relevant, more relevant after 5 years? So take a overall holistic approach while selecting something. So here I end my session and presentation with a good quote, and I want to leave you with thought that what I just spoke about. So you are guys are students, which is fantastic, and we are here sitting on the other side as an expert. So you may feel that these guys know everything, but we don't. We know so many little, so much little, But this, I like this quote. I was searching this on internet yesterday, but I really like this quote. The expert in anything was once a beginner. So today you may not know anything, but even the people who presented today, they were beginner one day. They also at your place. So who knows? Probably 10 years down the line, you will be on the other side. So that's it, Arpon. That's it from my side. I will stop sharing.
Thank you, Abhishek.
Thank you.
There are some
Thank,
questions.
thank you, Mr. Basu, for this interesting as well as informative talk. I think it will be very helpful for the upcoming job seekers and also for the students. So
Yeah.
I will request all the participants to ask question. They can write in the chat box. We have already few questions in the chat box. I like to convey it to the speaker that there is a question from Mohammad Nafis Uddin. Sir, how to start career in tire industry or paint industry after MSc in polymer science? I'm doing polymer science MSc.
Okay.
Sir.
How to start a career in tire industry or polymer industry?
Paint industry.
Paint industry. So when I have seen many people mentioning this, how to start a career. So I think how to start a career as in you want to get a job in this industry, right? So if you ask me how to get a job in those industries, I would go in the same way as Titash and Dr. Sharkar mentioned, that take LinkedIn as a very professional platform. Be connected with decision makers of those industry. When I say decision makers, it can be general manager, it can be vice president of respective departments. So we will get to know if there are any openings in that particular industry. That is one way. Second way is that every company, let's say any tire company, you can say Bridgestone, Apollo Tires, JK Tires, there are so many. Asian Paints, Pidilite, Berger Paints, the International Paints, Jotun Paints. There are so many companies around the world. So you can go to their respective websites and find out if they are hiring a fresher or a person with similar qualification in that company. So that's how you start your career. And I think that is the only way you can do it. And you can move to next question.
Okay.
I have answered.
Thank you. Next question from Kisi Hajra. He asked that do we need any kind of specialization, a course in the master degree to get into the industrial sector?
Yeah, I think definitely specialization helps. That's why there is a specialization in master degree, I believe.
Yeah.
So specialization helps, but you also know that specialization, I think it happens in second year. I mean, not in the first year. So specialization is about knowing a particular subject in depth. Okay. So when the hirer or the people from the industry see that this guy has a specialty, have better knowledge in this particular subject, and I am actually manufacturing this particular product, so probably that will help. So talking about edge over others, so probably that is the edge over others, that somebody who do not have specialization and you have that specialization, and some industries exactly looking at that particular skill set or competency, that will be you will be differentiated from others. So definitely specialization will help.
Okay. So there is another question from Abhishek Dey. Should a person with MSc degree change to MTech degree to get better job scope?
Well, there is no definite answer to that. I mean, who said that you are not getting the right job with MSc? First of all, you need to understand that as I said, you are not actually competing with each other. Everybody has a different place. Okay. So what I'm looking forward to from a MSc degree holder, probably that cannot be replaced by MTech. So just by doing a MTech degree, you are actually switching to some different job roles. You are doing some different opportunities. But it's not that you are getting nothing after doing MSc, and you will suddenly start getting shower of jobs after doing MTech. It is not like that. So first of all, you understand what what creates interest in you. Do you like research and development? Do you like playing with product and other things? Then probably MSc is the right thing. Technology is more about applied science. So do you want to also, do you actually, are you curious about understanding the application of science, and you are actually bored with same laboratory test and everything? Then definitely you should switch to. So both these qualifications have their individual benefits. That's how I will say. Next question.
There's a question from Dhiraj Mishra: how to get an opportunity in industry as a fresher where everyone is looking for an experienced one?
Oh, very much relevant question. Okay, let me answer this before. I have been working in industry for some time. Yes, tomorrow if I have to hire a person, I would be probably looking after a person who has experience. I mean, I shouldn't lie. I don't look for actually a person from colleges. You know why? Let me first tell you. A person after graduation, post graduation, sometimes they are not sure what they want to do. Industry often experience that people leave after 3 months, 6 months. They just realize that, okay, this is not my job. I want to pursue doctor, PhD or something else. But if you think from our perspective, we took up a project, which hired someone, and I just wasted my 6 months of time. My project is delayed by 6 months. Secondly, always industry thinks that if I hire an fresher, if I hire a fresher, probably I have to spend more time in training him. He has definitely, he's knowledgeable, but the reality and what you read in the book are different. Sometimes, not always. There are sometimes they're different. So I have to spend more and more time to to season his mind, to condition his mind, also prepare him for this role. That's why people do not want to go for that investment. I would call it investment, because when you invest in that person for 1 year or 6 months, if that guy is a brilliant student, he will give you returns after 1 year. And that's why people, even in spite of so many complaints, people hire freshers. We hire freshers as well. So I have actually shown you the two sides of the coin, where why we do not think about hiring a fresher, and why you think about hiring a fresher sometimes. That's it.
Okay. There is another question from Rosie Banerjee. Can you exaggerate a bit with an example regarding what you mean by being on edge over others?
Okay. So, okay, let me give you my example. So, I had a qualification in chemistry as well as chemical technology. I got a good job after my college. I was placed in a company which was world's largest coating manufacturing company at that time. I was happy. I was doing good. But after 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, when I moved to a particular position, and I was looking for leadership role or some new roles, and so you have to acquire new skill sets to understand. And that's the time I decided to pursue executive MBA from an university, because after some time you become one in the crowd. So if you have to differentiate yourself and you want to grow, you have to have edge over others, right? So now talking about your talking from your perspective, that you are a student, right? So probably there are multiple MSc degree holders or BSc degree holders around the world, around the country, in the country, who are perceived just like you. When you come to me, you all have same qualification. So maybe the edge over others can be a project, maybe an industrial experience can be a differentiating factor, maybe a communication skill, maybe your background, maybe the university you are coming from. That can be edge over others. But the important part is that you need to identify the differentiating factor in yourself and place it when you are going for an interview, because it's your duty to tell it that I am different from others. So I think that's what I meant when I said have age over others.
Thank you very much. Is there any more question from the participant ends, as well as from our faculty ends, which we can help the job seekers and students? Okay, I don't think there is any more question. So let's thank Mr. Abhishek Basu for his wonderful speech
I think
and for giving
there's
us
a
time.
question. I don't know. How can we be sure of our interest? Is
Okay,
that
there is another question. Yeah. How can we be sure of our interest?
very interesting question? I mean, somebody is of 18 years or 20 years of age, or even 22, 23 years of age. You are not sure about your interest. Let me be honest. I don't want to give you false hope. When I was in class 11 or 12 or BSc, I was not sure about my interest. But later on, as I said, I also identified my strength and my limitations, which helped me decide that if I have interest in 3 things or 4 things, which can fetch benefit for me in my career or future. So point I'm trying to make is that at least try to understand what are your strength and what are your improvement area. I won't call it weakness, is not the right word. You want to call it what is the improvement area. So based on that, you can actually find out, probably you can clear the confusion you have. I'm sure you know what is your interest, but you are not sure if that is the right thing. So you can actually clear your interest, clear your confusion by understanding your strength and limitation. So that's it.
Okay, I think this answer will
So,
satisfy you. Yes, sir.
Pratim,
Yes, sir.
see, if I'll add Dr. Vasu's response, that was really very good response. I mean, a very genuine response. One thing is a parameter, like anything that you are doing and you do not feel tired, that is your interest. Anything when you are doing, you are feeling joy without any reason, you are feeling very happy while doing that task, that is your interest. Anything that is not depend on the how much money you are getting, how much power and position you have, but still you enjoy doing that thing, that is your interest. And that will take you the highest level or top level of that area where you will start doing this. It's like painter, it's like writing poetry, it's like uh, music. In the same way, I know people like our own Sanjeev Ghosh sir. He enjoy teaching students. It doesn't matter how much money, how much time. I mean, he will just even forget while he's giving them talk and delivering lecture. So your interest, if you are able to find your interest, believe me, no one can stop you from meeting your dreams, from reaching your goals. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, rightly said, sir. Whenever you enjoy something, how do you know you enjoy that? So after working hours, or maybe in the evening, when you feel like going back to work tomorrow, that's the time you are
Yeah.
sure that you are liking it, right? And when something happens that after few months or few years, you don't feel like going back to your desk or job, that's the moment that you are working for money, or you are working by force. You're not working by choice. So yes, I mean, that's a long way to go. Right now,
Yeah.
as a student, you should focus on your strength and limitations, and capitalize on your strength, how you can increase that more and more. And let me tell you, there will be some confusion, but you will sail through. Don't worry. You are all are fantastic students. You will sail through.
Okay,
I
before
think
closing
rest
this
of the
session, there.
questions,
Oh,
yeah, rest of the question, Devapratim, if you are sending a feedback form or some small Google
yes, sir.
form, we
We
can
have already provided in
fill
the
it out.
chat box, and I think this is also provided via mail.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Basu, for your
Thank you.
time.
Thank you,
So
everyone.
I am now handovering the stage to our honorable HOD sir, Mr. Apomanna.
Thank you very much, Dr. Devapratim Das, for chairing the nice session. And I am also thankful to my friend, actually, Mr. Abhishek Basu. Actually, it's a long time that we met. I have seen him face to face, thanks to COVID also. Uh, and also, after a long time I hear him. It's a wonderful talk. Actually, we owe all of you, my speakers, my keynote speakers, for willing to share your time as well as share your expertise, uh, which I think maybe the critical to the success of many of the participants or many of the students who will choose chemistry as well as the environmental science as their career in future. And I hope that you all have uh, clarified many of the mysterious areas, which actually I can tell the gray area rather than mysterious area, because it's sometimes ghostly looking. Gray areas about the career, that if I choose the chemistry as a career, will I be only in the academic field, or I can I go to the industry, or what are industry looking for from any of the student from chemistry, and how the chemist can serve in different field of a industry, that already been well explained, and everything I hope clarified. And I also again, I'm thankful to all the participants for asking so many questions. If you also have another some more question, there is a feedback form, you can put it. We will directly send it to speakers later, and they will help you out to get the answer. And with this, I am thankful to our Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, sir, as well as he is the Pro Vice Chancellor of Research Development Affairs, as well as the Dean of our school, that is School of Basic and Applied Sciences. Our school consists of the 5 departments: physics, chemistry, mathematics, and forensic science. And chemistry, we actually also pursue the 2 major thing, that is chemistry as well as environmental science. Already I have told you. So he has supported us every time, and we have arranged several seminars through our department from our school, just to aware people that take up science, and this science will help you, and this science can be the bread and butter for you in future at any point of time. So this is our main motto, actually. uh, so I'm thankful to you, sir. I'm also thankful to our uh, Professor Sanjeev Ghosh, sir, who is always encouraging to all of us. I'm also thankful to all my faculty members. Some of them have chaired the different sessions today, and actually their constant encouragement, their constant involvement, actually very much important to make our department grow, and also the make the science grow in future overall. And I am also thankful to the uh, Adamas University. I am also thankful to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dipendra Kumar Jha. I am also thankful to our Chancellor, sir, who is giving the constant encouragement to all of us, right? Because Adamas University is his brainchild, and he is trying to make it a global success and making it a global village of education uh, within a short span of time. If you go to our website, then you will find that within a 5 or 6 years maximum, what we have reached and how many departments our chancellor sir and our authorities, they have dared to open, and all the departments are running successfully at Adamas University. It's a sprawling campus, it's a new university, all these things. So I request all the participants, if you have find some time, just make some visit to the university, also visit to the website, if you can do physical visit after this COVID restrictions over. So with all these words, I'm thankful to each and everyone who present here. I'm I thinking we are thinking to host such type of conference in future also, uh, and wish all of you will participate happily as you have participated. And the last request, please fill the feedback form and give your honest comment in the feedback form, which will improve us to do such type of conference with better performance. Right? Thank you again. Bye bye.